After an eventful combine week, which culminated in the Washington Commanders landing Deebo Samuel via trade on Saturday night, what are some of the latest Commanders draft rumors coming out from guys like Mel Kiper Jr., Daniel Jeremiah, and Bucky Brooks? Today, we're going to be talking about the latest surrounding the NFL draft, what the Commanders are looking at position-wise, and also who these guys have taken in their latest mock drafts for the Burgundy and Gold. Before we get into the content today, guys, make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already for more draft content from us here at the Commanders Report. If you like today's video, helps out the YouTube algorithm, gets this video out in front of more Commanders fans. It also tells us that this is the kind of content you want to see on here. So if you love draft content, you want more of it, click that thumbs up icon right now. So let's start with Mel Kiper Jr. and who he has the Commanders taking in his latest NFL mock draft, which is Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback out of Kentucky, who I think solidified his status as a round one corner with his performance at the Combine in Indianapolis this week. This is what Mel Kiper Jr. had to say. This offseason should be all about maximizing the Jaden Daniels rookie contract window and building a winner. That might mean pursuing receiver T. Higgins in free agency. Well, they just traded for Deebo Samuel. It might mean adding a run stopper, but it should definitely mean shoring up the secondary. Emmanuel Forbes Jr. was released this season 2 years after being a first-round pick. And while the big midseason trade for Marshon Lattimore moved the needle, he struggled to get on the field amid a hamstring injury. Toss in that Benjamin St-Juste is a free agent, and there's room for improvement here. Hairston has terrific awareness and coverage, and his recognition skills and speed allow him to get to the ball before he arrives. He had 6 interceptions over his past 2 seasons. And listen, man, Hairston was absolutely flying at the NFL Combine this weekend with that 4.29 40 time that he posted, which I think has solidified him as a true number one round cornerback. You take a look at his combine score here, his relative athletic scoring. And with that 4.29 40-yard dash, he had obviously the elite 20 and 10-yard splits as well. He is undersized at 183 pounds for an NFL corner, which is why a lot of people had him as a day 2 guy before the combine with long arms like Hairston has, all the things that he has at his disposal. And now you bring on the elite long speed. I think that he's probably going to end up going on day 1. Take a look at my scouting report on Maxwell Hairston here. I love his long arms. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He needs to work on his functional strength, but he's got long arms to stick with bigger wide receivers. He's good in both man and zone coverage. I really like his ball skills with those long arms, being able to snatch the ball up in the air. The hip fluidity is what you look for, matched with the long speed that you look for to stay with these speedier type of wide receivers down the field. And I love his effort, and I love his high motor. I do have a late round 1 grade on him. The only reason why I don't have a higher grade on him is because of the size element. But honestly, like if someone wanted to take him, maybe borderline top 20, I'm actually not going to bat an eye at that. This guy's one of the better overall players in the National Football League. But the question is, where will the Washington Commanders address the cornerback position? Are they going to go in free agency and get somebody like maybe a Charvarius Ward who just came over from the San Francisco, who is coming from the San Francisco 49ers? We just saw Adam Peters target a former Niner here in Deebo Samuel as the newest wide receiver of the Washington Commanders. Could they go out and get a Ward? Could they get Carlton Davis III, formerly with the Detroit Lions? There's lots of good cornerback options in free agency, but there's also a lot of good options in the draft as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they go that veteran route, try to get that veteran presence alongside Marshon Lattimore and Mike Sainristil, or if they opt to go corner once again in the NFL draft in the early rounds. So what say you guys? How should the Washington Commanders address the cornerback position? Type F for free agency or type D if you would rather draft. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Factor Meals. And while I'm talking about Factor today, go down there in the comments section, find that pinned comment, and let me know how you want the Commanders to address corner this offseason. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Factor Meals. Let me ask you guys a question here. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can feel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals. Based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto, results will vary depending on diet and exercise. And with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and of course, Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. So today, eat smart with Factor Meals. Get started with factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST. It's right down there in the bottom of your screen right now to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box with Factor Meals. So now let's shift to what Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network had to say in his latest mock draft, where he has the Commanders taking off-ball linebacker Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. This is what he had to say about the stud off-ball backer. Campbell is one of my favorite players in the class. I believe you'll see some teams work him out as an edge rusher this spring. When he's allowed to rush, he flashes elite potential. And we know how much the Washington Commanders love to blitz their off-ball backers. Jahad Campbell, you guys can see here his relative athletic score testing was elite. 4.52 in the 40-yard dash at his size there is actually really, really good. He's a little bit undersized for an interior backer, especially if you're going to be playing the Mike, which is what the Washington Commanders need. They need to replace kind of the bigger body Bobby Wagner in this scheme next year. So I think that Campbell's a really good player, and he's going to find a home, and he's going to be good immediately. I think that he's good enough in coverage against the run, and he's especially good enough as a blitzer to be good right away as a starting interior linebacker in the National Football League. I just don't know if he's going to be on Washington's radar in round one because I think that they're going to run it back with Bobby Wagner in 2025. I think that they might draft another off-ball backers at some point, maybe in the mid-rounds that they really like to eventually replace Bobby Wagner, but I think that they like Jordan McGee, who they took last year out of Temple as kind of like their third down, kind of rotational interior backer. They love Frankie Louvu, of course, who's kind of like that move it all, do it all, kind of move around, kind of hybrid edge rusher type piece in this defense. I think Bobby Wagner will probably be back as the Mike. He's, yes, older, but he's also affordable, and he wants to play for a winner and try to win one more Super Bowl championship before he retires. He can do that here in Washington. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Will Bobby Wagner be a Commander for the 2025 season? Give me a yes or a no. I personally think that he will be, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Can't wait to see what you have to say about Bobby Wagner. Then we get to Bucky Brooks here. This one's my favorite pick here. Bucky has the Commanders taking Matthew Golden, the speedster, the big play machine out of the Longhorns, who absolutely stole the show at the Combine this week. This is what Bucky had to say. Understandably, looking to build around 2024 Offensive Rookie of the Year Jaden Daniels, the Commanders take a playmaker early in this exercise. And now I love that Bucky has Golden falling to the Commanders here at 29, but after Golden's performance in Indianapolis this weekend, I highly doubt he will be there at 29. And after trading for Deebo Samuel, I kind of don't see them moving up to try and get a wide receiver. So, you look at that 40 time, 4.29. It was the fastest among wide receivers in this year's class. And, when you watch him on tape, he's just absolutely fantastic, guys. Super sudden route runner. He's got the long speed, obviously. He's great tracking the ball down the field. So he's a true deep threat. He's got great hands. He's had a couple crazy one-handed catches for the Longhorns last year. The yak ability is certainly there. He's returned punts and kicks before, and then the ball skills are ridiculous. He isn't the best run blocker in the world. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He does have an injury history, and he needs to do a little bit better job against press jam coverages, but he's got all the tools to make it happen, guys. He's a round one talent. He's a future superstar at the position, in my opinion, and he's more than worth a top 15 pick in the NFL draft this year, in my opinion. But Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, scary Terry McLaurin, Debo, and Matthew Golden all in the same offense with Jaden freaking Daniels throwing them the football? This would be absolutely electric, and this would be the best wide receiver room in the National Football League if they somehow were able to make it happen. So take your pick out of the 3 players that we discussed today from Mel Kiper Jr., Daniel Jeremiah, and Bucky Brooks. Which one do you think was the best pick? Type MH for Maxwell Hairston, type JC for Jahad Campbell, or type MG for Matthew Golden. For me personally, mine would be Matthew Golden because I think he's a top 15 player in this class. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got more Commanders draft coverage coming your way all throughout the offseason. Also, NFL free agency starts a week from today. We're going to have extensive coverage for you guys right here on the channel, live with breaking news coverage every time that they make a big move during NFL free agency. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. I will see you guys next time. Until then, hail to the Commanders.